Hey everybody, welcome to MCAT Radio. I'm Scott.
And I'm Neil.
This is the weekly show where we kind of bridge the gap between MCAT Television and KFGM Missoula Community Radio here on 101.5.
Yes, on today's episode, all the Justice League characters from the Justice League animated series that you could land a Boeing 747 on their shoulders.
Most of them.
You've got Batman, you could land a Boeing 747 on his shoulders. Superman, obviously.
Yes. Martian Manhunter especially because
Yes,
his head's smaller and it seems like his shoulders are way bigger.
Yes. Green Lantern, you could land a plane on his shoulders.
Yep.
And we're not talking about strength, we're talking about width.
Yeah, remember the giant busts of the 80s?
Yeah.
We have our own version for Justice League Unlimited.
Even the Flash.
Exactly, especially the Flash.
Yeah.
And he had the smallest of everyone.
Yeah, and you could still land a Boeing 747 on his shoulders.
A dreamliner.
Wonder Woman.
Some good times there for sure. But yeah, these are some of the questions we always want to ask, especially our kids of our spring break camp that we had last week. So if you got a chance to watch it, our Spring Flicks 2026 is up on YouTube and available for viewing. It's about 45 minutes, compilation of a bunch of kids' ideas thrown out the wall to see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great videos made by the kids themselves, edited, and final approval by us, which we basically just helped with the improving the audio, because that always seems to be the biggest issue with a lot of kids is like...
I liked Crowbar Joe.
Joe?
I had no input into that one, but I liked it.
Yeah, Crowbar Joe is a really solid short film where I bought a... one of those fake crowbars from Spirit Halloween last Halloween after like the foam rubber or whatever, and then we're just like, you're gonna solve everyone's problem with this crowbar, and then we just basically made a character around it. It started as a trailer, but then it turned out to be like a 5.5 minute just like sizzle reel of potential what could happen. But
Crowbar Joe helping people.
Yeah, I mean, we always like those kind of characters. Nature's Guys is a big staple character. We also have Banana Man. Banana Man. We definitely I didn't know where we saw that coming. It just kind of happened. Like the kid really likes bananas, and we're just like, yeah, sure, we'll make another banana movie, and then it just became its own thing.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, it's one of those things where just like I'm kind of like. After the first couple ones, I'm like, I think we got out of the system, but it just seems to get more and more powerful as time goes on. So I'm definitely excited to also admit that our mutual friend Josh is making has already made a banana 3D printed sword.
The Banana Saber. The
Banana Saber. So we hope to be utilizing that in sometime in the future. I really want to do like a Darth Maul reveal at the end where the banana sword gets, and then we just basically, instead of singing the Duel of Fates, it's just saying banana. Over and over. Exactly. It works really well.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that for sure. But in terms of MCAT-related content, right now, the city of Missoula is hosting the State of the Community. So they invited the county commissioners, and we're going to throw it over to our own very own Mayor Andrea Davis.
We have no idea what's about to be said because it's happening live.
It is happening live on MCAT's YouTube page at MCAT TV Missoula. So without further ado, here is a little taste of this video.
To be here with you. Love City Club, love State of the Community. It's an honor to be here together as we reflect on where we are, what we've accomplished together, where we're going with clarity and purpose. The topic today is holding strong at home, sturdy leadership in uncertain times. And I don't need to stand here and tell you, boy howdy, are we in uncertain times. Challenging, unsettling. It's hard. And yet, here we are, and here you are. It really this moment calls for something more grounded. And I think Josh and Commissioner Slotnick, you really teed that up very well, that there is leadership to provide sturdiness here in these uncertain times. For me, it really starts with one significant value, and that value for me and how I lead is wellness. I think about my role as mayor in terms of creating wellness for the community at large. And I value a healthy and vibrant community. You heard that in my bio, which, by the way, I'm a University of Montana grad, and Commissioner Slotnick was my professor at the university, so I forgot to add that to my bio, but it's something that's just also kind of a well-rounded aspect of our community here. And when I think about wellness, I think about it not just as an abstract idea, but I think about it as a way that we are working together to contribute to one another's lives. And it matters, wellness for the person, for the family, for the neighborhood and for the community as a whole. And it shows up in how we make decisions every day. So, as I mentioned, I envision Missoula as a vibrant, resilient, adaptable community, able to adapt to the changing times, but also recognizing and honoring our past and our quality of life that we cherish here. It's a place that is supported by a responsive government and strong community partnerships. And those kind of partnerships result in unparalleled cultural opportunities, recreational opportunities, and entrepreneurial opportunities. And in these uncertain times, we lean into those healthy community partnerships. We rely on those more than ever to serve our community, to serve you. Because when we partner, we get a lot more done together. So, Josh, you talked about this quite a bit, which is being intentional planning. And intentional planning often results in amazing accomplishments together, again, that we would not have achieved alone. Some of the things that I want to talk about today are ways in which we are investing in complete and connected neighborhoods. So it's been a priority of mine to work on this with you, with the city, with the county, the university. And what I mean by complete and connected neighborhoods means creating more housing choice and affordability. It means strengthening mobility and access to our daily needs, access to jobs, schools, and access to one another. It means that no matter your means, that you have access to nature, health, and recreation. It means supporting an inclusive, diverse, and vibrant economy. And it means maintaining and improving infrastructure that keeps us moving as a city. One of the most significant initiatives that we took as a city was the completion and implementation of our Unified Development Code. I know that sounds kind of wonky and boring, but it's substantial because our Unified Development Code is the new rule book. It's the new rule book for how builders build new homes and build new businesses in the very places that we make together. This is the result of our community's vision. Our community's vision was the how, it was the policy, it was the big picture. And then we went about working with all of you to figure out how are we going to get that done. City Council just adopted this Unified Development Code. And what this means is that we're going to have a new streamlined, consistent, clarified way in which people can build the spaces that make real opportunity for one another in our community. It's a bridge between what the community said it wanted and basically the reality on the ground. It creates more housing options. We heard the community say they wanted more walkable neighborhoods, stronger neighborhoods, access to community neighborhood commercial, climate responsibility, and these things support economic vitality. This is a major step in our development system to make it clear and more consistent and more responsive to the future that we are building together.
All right, so there's a little taste of our own mayor, Andrea Davis, speaking at City Club, which is hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, and it's happening here live on the 4th floor of the Missoula Public Library. They usually go for about an hour and a half. It's a luncheon. They used to do it at the old Doubletree Hotel Convention Center, but they've been doing it here at the Missoula Public Library on a semi-regular basis for the last 6+ months now. So yeah, good chance. It's live. I'm not sure if it's wrapped up by now, but they've definitely had a lot of the heavy hitters of Missoula talking about their plans of moving forward with the city of Missoula. She also mentioned Josh Slotnick, who is the county commissioner, who also spoke at this meeting. But I just wanted to bring it in to just kind of reflect one of the speakers, which is the mayor of our own very fair city of Missoula. So yeah, a lot of base plans. During this particular talk, I chimed in around the point when she was getting to the middle of the speech. But a big part of it has a lot to do with what the city is doing with their assets when it comes to their properties to help use that to leverage affordable housing. Right. A lot of goals, a lot of things happening, a lot of development happening in general. In a place of Missoula, which frankly hasn't seen any kind of major development of much kind. Of course, since, Mullen Bill Project, off Mullen Road, all that stuff that's happening next to Hellgate Elementary with all that new property that's being built there.
That's right.
Yeah. Not to mention the new transit center they're trying to build on the, basically the Doherty Ranch kind of area, basically kind of like behind the VA center here in Missoula, just if you're going down Broadway, they want to make a new transit center for the bus stop.
All right.
So, host all the buses, all that kind of stuff, since they've pretty much outgrown their location off of Defoe Street. Yeah. All right. So, there's stuff happening there. If you guys are interested, you can go to MCAT TV Missoula. This is just one of many things that the city is planning on, especially when it comes to the North Side Scott Street master plan for the whole area. And I did a short piece about it a couple Thursdays ago, which was released on the MCAT YouTube page. If you guys, and here's a little excerpt from it, if you guys want to check out some of the interesting things that are happening on the North Side. And this is all about the planning phase. So here we go.
So the city is kicking off a new master plan for the area between Reserve and Scott, I-90 and the rail corridor. We call it the Reserve to Scott 2026 master plan. So this is the kickoff of the public engagement and outreach, asking for input on priorities as that area, looking into the future, the next 10, 20 years, how the area could grow and develop. So we're asking people for their priorities around infrastructure, connectivity, future land uses, and desired site uses.
Sorting out what all this wants to be so that it knits together and it's a long-term vision and plan for really creating a pretty remarkable part of the city with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There's a critical need across the spectrum of what you're saying. So supply is really important. The need is across the whole spectrum of income levels and types. So I think we're going to look at how to accommodate as much of that as possible and to put it together in a way that is livable and really promotes the culture and environment of Missoula and feels like something for Missoula and Missoulans.
We're at a really exciting time on the north side with the Rivard development coming to fruition after a lot of, several years of planning and a lot of partnership and basically using every financing and funding tool we could get our hands on collectively. So it's great to see that there's like vertical construction and homes, at least the permanently affordable portion of the homes will be ready for move-in. We're thinking at around May or June, so it's coming really soon.
This area being so large, there's a large mix of land uses, and a lot has changed. Since the original master plan in 2016, there's been a lot of residential growth on the east side along Scott Street. Roseburg Forest Products has discontinued their manufacturing use, and they're now a partner with us. The first phase of their property has been annexed into the city. And so part of this is looking at what is the infrastructure that's needed to develop that roughly 200 acres in the center of this area.
Because as we do a little bit of redevelopment on our site, we have really the redevelopment of the studios in 4 phases, but we're also really hopeful to participate in a mixed-use workforce housing solution. And so learning from folks what they need to see, what's the price points that these studies behind us are showing, what are the gaps in housing, what are those desires from green space activation, parks and community, and how do we fit in the bigger collaborative effort there? We're really interested in seeing, okay, what can we do to be good listeners, and so we can shape our plan around that.
All right, so there's that little taste of our North Reserve to Scott Street master plan. They had an open house a couple Thursdays ago. Get a little taste of kind of like what the goals are, what they want to do there. It's all a master plan, so it's about just asking people what they want to see. A lot of things in terms of commercial development, trails, connectivity, parks is a big thing on the north side that's heavily lacking, which the city of Missoula is also working on in front of the Villaggio, which they want to activate that green space with courtesy of some of additional land sales and land swaps with the Catholic cemetery on the north side as well. So there's definitely a lot going on.
Yes.
A lot of development, more than I've ever seen in most of my entire life. I would say last 10 years has been a developmental boom in Missoula despite our pandemic woes. So yeah, a lot of things happening.
Yeah. Did you see that video on the Missoula subreddit of the muskrat just wandering around?
Yes, it was on one of these places on. It looked like one of those gas stations next to off Reserve Street.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt if they weren't kind of living off of one of those berms where they have the drainage ditch they have in those areas.
Wandered its way up and went, where am I?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those near my drainage ditch in my area too.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I thought it was a beaver because
Yeah,
it's
right.
a pretty
It
big
looks a
rat.
little bit like a
because the
beaver.
tail is a little bit thicker.
Yeah, a little thicker. Yeah. They have a similar hunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But I also wanted to mention, of course, it is lunchtime, and want to have ice cream for lunch. I'm going to give a shout out to Sweet Peaks because they just celebrated 16 years. They gave away free ice cream on Sunday for their 16th anniversary. I don't know if they're still doing it today, but definitely worth a shout out and did a good congratulations for a local business here in town.
I'm going to give it a shout out to Icos.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, Icos.
Yeah, I was completely kind of blindsided because I was like, oh, they open this time of year? Because,
They usually open with the farmers.
I want to say March or whatever, but they're open again and they're essentially toiling, basically selling their lot next to the old Toyota behind Big Dipper ice cream.
Yeah, Japanese fusion food. I really love their chicken karage.
Yep, I really like some of their spicy sauce, which is kind of like a sriracha mustard mix kind of thing. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good choices. Yeah. At the end of June, I'm going to be attending the Alliance for Community Media in Madison, Wisconsin. This is the 50th anniversary of public access television stations.
Woo.
So me and 200 board members from Missoula Community Access Television will arrive to learn more about the state of public access centers. In the age of digital media, legacy media is beginning to lose viewerships with every boomer cutting cable. Allcommunitymedia.org. This is a celebration of the 50 years of public access, which incorporates towns into leveraging cable companies to create a channel for the local community as opposed to government investment, which requires tax funding. MCAT is not tax funded and operates for the greater Missoula area and frankly does not, have done some shoots in Polson, Hamilton, and various western regions of Montana as a whole, not just servicing Missoula County. So, it's one of those kind of things. Is like you never know that some communities, really are going forward with a lot of public access, and then some places kind of use it as like a basis to build off of for technical support for their local city council meetings and stuff like that. So MCAT is both a little bit of a C-SPAN but also public access. So if you're ever interested in learning more about MCAT, you can go to MCAT.org. And Neil, do you want to talk about all those classes that we provide for folks?
Sure. First, I'll say if you want to support us, subscribe to cable. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have plenty of classes, including tonight's upcoming Blender class, 6 to 8. Come on down, learn some 3D modeling and animation in an open source program.
Yep, it is a great resource for people to learn 3D animation. It's a good starting point for a lot of people. If you can even bring your own computers in and work with your own devices to help build for your own apparatus from home.
Yeah.
Because all you really need is a basic PC computer. Even some of our own basic computers out in the back tend to have a pretty good operating system.
Oh, yeah, they run pretty well with Blender.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, we also have podcasting coming up this week, twice, Tuesday and Thursday.
Yep, Tuesday at 6 and Thursday at 2.
That's right. And, of course, video editing, Wednesday, 6 to 7.
Yep.
And also Wednesday, 2 to 3.
Yep, good classes for people to learn. We also have our an additional Blender class that happens on Friday from 4 to 6. And then, as always, it's happening tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. Many things we do here at MCAT, classes, kind of learn and teach people how to do all sorts of things. And also, the KFGM also has an openings for people who are interested in becoming DJs here. You just have to create a 30-minute pilot. There's a script available here at our location here at the Missoula Public Library for anybody interested in starting their own radio show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Scott, you have any music to play for us today?
No.
No?
I have more clips from MCAT.
Ah, clips!
Yeah, but
You
I
should
also...
play the Crowbar Joe song.
The Crowbar Joe song?
Yeah, do you have that?
Not readily available, but I can bring it up after this next clip I want to show everyone. So before I get to that, I also wanted to mention that there's some news. There was a release that's because Karis Park's pavilion is being replaced, and it should be wrapped up by early May, just in time for the Out to Lunch. So they took out the awning, and they're going to be changing it. It's served.
I saw the April Fool's post about it.
Yes. So the canopy of 30 years of life, and now it's time for change. So they're looking up to update it.
Goodbye, canopy of 30 years.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a long time.
I mean, it is technically, and then when they reopen again in the first week, when they start doing their Out to Lunch Summer Series, bet to again, it's 40th year. So it's going to be the 40th year of the Out to Lunch.
Wow.
So it's going to usually lunch happens from 11 to 2 on Wednesdays, and then they do like a 4 to 8, so they have an extended hours for downtown tonight on Thursday nights.
I'm going to go stand under the canopy and just sit there and pout and go, I liked the old one better.
Pretty much. But yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, because we're pretty much at the last month before people are getting a little bit braver to be outside for the farmers market. So farmers market is pretty much going to start within the next couple weeks. Usually the first weekend in May is usually like the big kickoff.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and if you're interested, also there's other programs here at MCAT that have done out to lunch programs in the past, from the Symphony, Adorn Big Band. A lot of people can reach out to us and have them record their event, their cause, their rally, their lecture series, all that kind of stuff. Take us out to lunch. But yeah, up here we also have Rattlesnake Stories, which is a lecture series hosted here at the Missoula Public Library, and we're talking about bluebirds and bluebird houses. So you can watch this at any time, but as of right now, here's a little taste of some of this for your viewing, for your listening pleasure.
1981, the president of the Great Falls Ducks Unlimited chapter, Bob Niebuhr, invited Art and a friend to display their bluebird nests at a dinner. These boxes were a huge hit, even though they were not the main event of the night. The dinner was a wonderful turn of events for the declining bluebirds. Bob contacted the Great Falls bluebirders and Canadian bluebirders, and the men all grouped together for breakfast, decided to combine their efforts to get the conservation message out. The slideshows were made and programs were started. When Art died in 1999 of cancer, he had been taking a neighbor with him on his bluebird trails. Meet Irvin Davis. Irvin was my mentor. Irvin was Art's neighbor, and Art took over the care of his trails, and he adopted many others. At one time, he monitored and banded trails that totaled close to 500 boxes. He also banded 2,500 or 1,000 I get my numbers mixed up. But anyway, it's 1,000. He banded that many birds in Montana. He was the first bluebird bander in the state of Montana. Irv kept records, and he was able to answer the questions that had never been answerable due to the lack of data. Do they mate for life? No. Do they stay together for the entire nesting season? Usually. Do they return to the same area and the box year after year? Frequently. How long do they live in the wild? Average age is about 2 years old. Irv and I have both had 6- and 7-year-olds on our trails. Where do they go or migrate to in the winter? We still don't know. And the other question is, when they when the first clutch fledges from the box, where do they go? We still don't know. So there's lots of research that still needs to be done. All
right, so there's a little taste of some bluebird history up in the Rattlesnake. So more Rattlesnake Stories for you guys to learn a little bit more about your history, especially up in the Rattlesnake. There's a deep commitment to history up in the Rattlesnake. A lot of folks up there, very protective of their area for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So also I wanted to mention that West Broadway River Corridor project is moving towards a master plan adoption. Yet another master plan from the city of Missoula. Master plans, all these plans, all that kind of stuff. City's looking to push a major upgrade near Broadway Island around the California Street Bridge. This is essentially the portion of the river where they have that little stair across from the Paul Varela Center. Mm-hmm. You go down there, you go on a trail. They want to improve this area, create a new wave and everything like that. With their planning phase, any design standards will move for approval in late winter 2026. So right now they're in all the projected planning phases. They have some renderings and some stuff like that, but they're not even fully at the point to get it funded and stuff like that. But the overall project is looking to spend upwards of $400,000 of TIF funding, with $100,000 donated from the Resource Legacy Fund to help bolster this master plan. And this is sure to bring in some river recreation groups to invest as well.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, there's a lot of things happening as well. And Also, I wanted to mention is that Montana is looking to block junk food as part of the SNAP Food Program Welfare Program. This is mostly to improve the outcome of low-income folks denying their candy. State leaders, including administration of Governor Greg Gianforte of Montana, says the restriction will promote healthy eating and improve health outcomes. However, states have programs to help distribute SNAP, as it is federal programs, which requires more red tape to these kinds of approval, but opens the door for disclosure. Should SNAP only cover healthy options for produce, deli, baked goods, and over prepackaged products that have ingredients that you cannot pronounce? I don't know. That's a good question.
There's a lot of folks on SNAP who just don't have stores that carry healthy options.
Exactly. So 7% or 72,000 people in Montana use the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP. Old school folks can refer to them as food stamps. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we don't call them food stamps anymore.
There's no stamps.
Yep, no stamps.
I don't have a stamp.
Nobody has food stamps. But yeah, that's just something to really kind of think about moving forward as well. But let's talk about something a little bit fun. Something that kind of gives you an idea of what society was kind of like in the 1990s, especially old military movies like In the Army Now, in particular a Steve Martin movie called Sergeant Bilko from 1996, starring various actors from all roles of life, a movie based on the 1955 show starring Steve Martin in the titular role, with Phil Hartman as the heel of the movie. Of course, the biggest takeaway from this movie was a post-Cold War era where America was actually reducing the amount of military bases in the United States and the world. And from this movie, it was tasked with creating essentially a experimental hovercraft tank. The comedy essentially is about the group of misfits in a vein of bubbling military comedy, and commentary became the beginning of the end for military-industrial complex, with Colin Powell's famous speech about America running out of enemies. At a time, it was North Korea's Kim Jong-il, Cuba's Fidel Castro, and Libya's Muammar Gaddafi at the time. So it was a very shrinking world, and the holdouts for the Cold War as trade with China became normal after the Japanese economic bubble burst, resulting in many go-to places for everything exploitative that companies in America could not get away with.
You know what movie?
Outsourcing, you know what I mean?
Outsourcing. You know what movie I just watched last night?
Yes.
Not from the 90s, 2010s, 16 Wishes.
16 Wishes?
Disney Channel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one Anya watched back in the day.
I wonder if this was like a very popular in the vein of 16 and Pregnant on MTV.
No, it was about a high school girl. She's turning 16 and she gets 16 wishes for Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Right?
Because MTV also had My Super Sweet 16 show where they would...
I don't know where Sweet 16 even came from as a celebration.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think heck, even NBA calls it 16 the Sweet 16.
Right.
Before they go into the it's like the Final Four and all those kind of things.
Anyway, that movie came out in 2010, which means it's 16 Wishes, Sweet 16 this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. So what were some of the wishes that, if you can remember from the movie? Because the only Disney movie I remember is the Luck of the Irish.
She wanted a car, preferably red.
Yes.
She wanted to like sushi. That was one of the wishes.
Cool. That's usually like the test wish, to be like, these wishes aren't real.
Oh, no. See, she had written these wishes throughout her life.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're of varying usefulness.
Yeah, there's there was another movie I remember watching when I was growing up, 25 Wishes for Christmas. It was like one of those AMC family movies before it became like Freeform, Fox Family, and all that stuff. But anyways.
And then, of course, the ending's always, you never really needed the wishes.
Right.
The real wish was the friends we made along the way.
Yes, indeedy. Did you know that the Artemis 2 essentially went past the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was so much going on where it was just like, it was one of the many footnotes.
Got the back of the moon.
It really got the shot of the back of the moon, especially the nice horizon of the moon looking out towards the Earth.
Yeah.
Some beautiful photos. Many of the people in the mission have well over 100 hours in space, with one new guy who essentially only has 9 days in space. So this is essentially what's his first mission out in space.
Wow.
So some good stuff happening there. I really like the pictures that they took, the moon, all the craters. They even said that they even witnessed a comet hitting the moon in real time. So they were able to get, hopefully they'll be able to get some really nice footage, because I hope that they, because when they were streaming it, it was like the footage was terrible, but you got to understand, they're like, like 20 plus Earths away trying to get a live feed. And the fact that they got a live feed, the video live feed in the first place was great. But now that they got all their resources back, I'm really excited with the kind of things they're going to publish.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's kicked off a whole new moon craze, even with the idea that we're not going to constantly be rotating around the moon. We're going to try to create lunar bases. Yeah. So have a little bit more of a permanent place there. That would be insane to think about.
But Gru stole the moon.
Yeah, he stole the moon. Yeah.
We are going to steal the moon!
But yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really excited to see what kind of big missions to space we're going to move on forward, especially with the International Space Station kind of at the point of retirement, because that's a big thing.
It's getting there.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine the kind of things that the U.S. military, because, they have the Space Force. They've been around since the end of Trump's first presidency.
Yeah, they even had a whole TV show with Steve Carell.
That nobody watched because it was terrible. It was terrible. I didn't like it. I kind of understand what they were doing, but it was kind of like, you're the smartest, funniest person alive. Go do your thing. It's like, why aren't you as funny as you were in The Office? That's basically kind of how it is. Like, dude, I'm not The Office. Yeah. I can't be The Office in every show that you make.
Yeah. Anyway, there's the connection. We talked about the moon.
Yep.
Then I talked about Gru from.
Yep.
From not Megamind, Despicable Me.
Yes.
Steve Carell.
Yes.
Space Force. Steve Carell.
Yep.
What's another Steve Carell movie, Scott? That connects to Space Force.
Little Miss Sunshine, with Greg Kinnear being like, you have to be a go-getter. You have to be everything to do what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. So technically that's connected in that way. Because you have to be like the best of the best to be able to do this kind of like multi-million, billion-dollar projects. They're putting a lot of money into this kind of thing, so they need the utmost professionality behind it. Yeah. Me saying professionality, but still, you understand the concept of everything. You're listening to 101.5 KFGM. Do we have any cool little ad reads or things for the underwriting that you want to say?
We could read an underwriting.
Yeah, let's do some underwriting.
Acknowledgement here.
Yeah.
KFGM Missoula Community Radio is brought to you in part by Free Cycles. Free Cycles provides bicycles, parts, tools, workspace, and help for a healthy community. Their programs focus on repurposing unused bicycles to reduce pollution and increase freedom, empowerment, and social change. Their community shop space is open to the public Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Visit freecycles.org to learn more.
Yep. I said hi, Bob. I said hi to Bob Giordano the other day. Good to see him. He was at the old Good Food store when I was picking up some I guess I want to say tortillas.
I like Free Cycles.
Yeah, Free Cycles is a great place to go.
I need to bring my bike over there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. What?
You
were going to say something.
No, I was going to say anything. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Free Cycles.
Free Cycles.
Where you can make a bike.
Yes, pretty much.
That's the tagline now.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you're listening to 101.5 KFGM Missoula Community Radio. Let's see. It is currently 12:32. Hey, Scott, you watch anything good recently?
Do I watch anything good recently? I am excited to with the new season. The Boys came out last Wednesday.
Oh, yes.
So I've been watching
the final season.
The final season. I gave Daredevil Born Again a chance again. So second season's been really killing it, doing really well with everything they've been doing. It's if you like the old Netflix series, they got some of that Disney money, but not so much Disney influence, even though there is some of that kind of teetering around, but they've kind of stuck to the old formula in season 2 compared to season 1, which is like, let's throw some Disney ideas at it.
Hey, Daredevil, remember Marvel?
Yeah, right. No, seriously, they did like a cameo with like one of the Miss Marvel characters. It was just like, oh yeah, that guy was in the Miss Marvel movie, I think.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I
haven't watched like anything since Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I'm going to be watching the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Spider-Man's like the easy go-to for a lot of people.
I'll watch it because I like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's a pretty cool guy. He fights criminals and doesn't afraid of anything.
Yep, doesn't afraid of anything. Yeah, that's a nice little homage to our spring break camps.
Yeah, well, I mean, the doesn't afraid of anything is like from way back when in the internet.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the things that we did, because, you wanted to do like an abridged version of Star Trek. So you could
Star Wars Space Fight.
Space Fight, yep. So do you want to talk a little bit about the process and everything that you did to make it possible?
Yeah, so Space Fight, we decided to remake the first Star Wars movie and make it not legally distinct, but, it's a kid's parody.
Of course.
But Yeah, it was fun. You know, we got to rotoscope out all of our actors, do bad props and costumes. Only some of the characters had any kind of costume pieces, actually. But it was pretty fun. We used some cardboard miniatures, some quickly rendered backgrounds. Scott, you drew a few of those, didn't you? Did you draw the Death Star hallway?
Yes, I did do the one of the corridors for towards the end where Luke's like no to Obi-Wan. So we did that. I did also the console for the plans for the Death Star for before the final trench run.
Yes.
And then you used Blender to basically make a quasi simplistic trench run.
Oh yeah. Blender.
Yep. And then you also use the little blaster plasma bolts that hit the proton torpedoes that hit the center and everything. So we basically made it. It was like 11 minutes long and it had a little incorporated. We basically used our trash can and taped a microphone stand to it. Just be like, okay, that's his arm.
That's R2.
And also the lightsaber. So we used a lot of we reused a lot of things. We had a gas mask that we used a couple times.
Oh yeah.
And then we had a welding mask which kind of looked like it was from the game PUBG.
Yeah.
And that was basically Darth Vader.
Yeah. You played a good Greedo, Scott.
Yeah. I just basically says okay, just make a bunch of nonsense words.
I'm a Han Solo.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, not only did Han shoot first, but he shot relentlessly at Greedo. It was pretty funny. I really liked all the kids we worked with this week for sure. Of course, towards the end of the week, like any other week, we all get burnt out a little bit more, and we start slowing down a little bit. But I was really happy with a lot of the movies that turned out towards the end.
Yeah.
I think just the biggest issue is especially when it comes to editing, it's so intimidating for so many people. But I really like how kids just kind of go for it because when we try to do these editing lessons for intro to editing for a lot of adults here, which we do on Wednesdays at 2 and 6 p.m. is a lot of them kind of do it and they're just like, oh, that's cool, and then they never see them again.
Right.
They don't want to. I don't know. It's like I always tell people, it's like the best way to learn editing is to have footage that you care about.
Yeah.
That you want to piece together and make something like that. And, it is kind of kooky because, a lot of times when you go to free cycles, your expectation is that you're going to get your bike fixed. And no. You don't go. You fix the bike and they teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what MCAT does. So circling back to the free cycles.
Whoa. Full circle.
Yeah. But, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that Bradley Seaman, the unspoken hero of Missoula County elections, he's basically saying, this is in response to Trump's executive order to, supersede and rush in his Save Voter Act.
Right.
To, have multiple documentation and stuff like that. But when it comes to executive orders, it takes 60 days to fully implement in the law. And then at the same time, there's no clear reasoning for it to actually come to pass.
Right.
So in terms of what Bradley Seaman has said is that after Trump signed this executive order essentially to the SAVE Act to a certain degree resulted in uncertainty in elections, Bradley, shout out, spoke to reports last week as the June primary will run like normal as the executive order has 60 days of implementation. So the order, which is facing many legal challenges like the Article 1 of the Constitution, which gives powers to states to conduct elections.
The first article.
It's the first article, which will definitely do a lot of protections moving forward with these elections, which is going to be pretty interesting moving forward. And, I don't want to talk too much about...
You did see the picture he shared, right?
Which one?
The picture Trump shared?
Oh, no, I don't want to talk about him anymore, unfortunately. I'm
going to show you the picture.
Yeah, you can show me the picture, but I couldn't find the Crowbar Joe song. It's probably on a computer somewhere that I have to find, but it's not on this computer as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, yeah, there's just a lot of weird things going on here because the most recent news is that the U.S. military has now essentially moved to make a military blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Trump loves his AI. He does loves using a lot of those AI images for sure, but yeah, it's a very interesting phase that we're in right now, and it feels like we're kind of in a weird position, and even leadership in China is calling out the U.S. and all these different places, just like, hey, you hold us to all these standards, and yet when you are breaking those standards, the hypocrisy has to end. So, I don't know. We're living in a weird time for sure, and
I'm tired of living in interesting times.
I really am.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the weird things. That, during Biden, the biggest drama that was being created was trans rights and boys pretending to be women in sports, and it's if that's the worst, then I would prefer that over everything that's going on right now, just in general. Just like, I don't, like, I love the discourse. I would love to talk more about that rather than just talk about something that is so blatantly like, this is dumb, we should stop doing this. But, here we are. Anyways, here's some more programs on MCAT that you guys can enjoy at MCAT TV Missoula. This is from the Home Resource Zero Waste Lunch and Learn series. They're talking about sustainable commuting with Missoula in Motion. So here is a little taste of that.
Missoula, and we were awarded several $1 million, and that money has been taken away, so we no longer have it.
This close. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so it just continues along that same path, and it's just not paved anymore. But you get to cross, yeah, so it'll take you out there. So yeah, a great option for checking out what route might work for you. And then we'll present again. Bicycle registration is a good way if you're a little nervous and want to make sure that your bike doesn't get stolen. This is a good protective layer. It's a completely free online tool. You just connect your serial number on your bike with your name. So if something does happen, you know what your serial number is, number one. That's huge. Maybe you've got a picture of you and your bike. That's also really helpful. So when you're talking with the police about it, they can connect the two of you. And when they find the bike, it's easier to reunite you.
How big of a problem is bike theft in Missoula?
It depends on who you ask, I kind of think.
Yeah,
I've never had a problem with bike theft in Missoula.
Yeah, we met with the police recently, and it sounds like they recover way more bikes than they get stolen reports, almost like 4 to 1. So we and it didn't used to be that way. Yeah, we were kind of surprised. So they're recovering a lot more bikes than they can find the owners for, and people aren't like doing as many police reports for stolen bikes. So it's hard to know, are they just not reporting them, or are fewer bikes getting stolen?
And so that's something to really think about from that clip too, is that, regardless of bikes being stolen, there are a lot more being recovered for a lot of people. So you do want to get your bike registered. And so from what I saw in this presentation, Project 529 is a great resource for people to get their bike registered. And, I
didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, you never really think about those kind of things. It's like, oh, it's just a bike. It's like no big deal. But bikes are expensive now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I bought mine back in 2020.
It was like $500.
Yeah, because there was a bike shortage.
Yeah, it's crazy how much we had a bike shortage.
My car broke down.
Yeah.
I needed transportation, and I was like, fine, I'll pay $600 for a bike.
I know. It sinks when that kind of thing happens, and you still have the same bike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of times, think about it like this, you just register your bike with your name, and even if it gets stolen, a lot of times bikes get stolen just so, folks...
One-way transportation.
It's a one-way transportation, and they usually just kind of leave it, and they just kind of move on to the next thing. It's... even Missoula, I know Free Cycles, going back to Free Cycles.
Free Cycles,
they were,
that's the theme of the episode.
They were big champions in the late 90s and early 2000s to do the green bikes. And, it's like, how cities have those kind of designated bikes. Missoula had designated green bikes. Unfortunately, most of those green bikes are just MIA and gone. I think there's only maybe a handful left that still are held onto by the nostalgic folk here in Missoula. But it was an interesting plan to try to get
public bikes.
They're just public bikes and be like, hey, leave them wherever. Yeah. Get a chance to rearrange them and do all that kind of stuff.
No, it seems like it could have been good.
Yeah.
Could have been good.
Could have been good. Yeah, I just remember the big bike bus from a couple of years back.
Oh, the bike bus.
And then it was it was the guy who was selling jewelry on the street.
Was that guy?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like...
I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, they found a whole bunch of bikes in his place.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I knew that his photo was pretty much plastered downtown as a way to troll him.
Oh, okay.
Just like his police photo.
Right.
Yeah.
He got a whole sting operation on his bikes, huh?
Yeah, I just remember I was walking with somebody here in Missoula, and they're just and I was just walking past the jewelry guy because I didn't know at the time, and he was trolling the jewelry guy at the time, and he's like, "Dude, what's going on?" He's like, "No, he's a bike thief." I'm like, "Did you not read in the newspaper?" I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't." And then that's kind of how I knew it. This is 10 years ago too.
Wow.
It's kind of ridiculous to kind of think about, but it's that's the kind of thing about some of those reputations is once those things kind of happen, or just you kind of it's hard to get away from those things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's eclectic eccentrics of Missoula for sure. But you never know.
Missoula's got some characters.
They really do, for
Tiny
sure.
Dancer.
Tiny Dancer. Rest in peace. Then we got, we had Tiny Dancer Jr. for a little while here at the library where he would just do his little dance thing in the lobby space, if you remember him. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen him in a million years, so he's probably moved on.
Of course, we've got Lightsaber and Cape Guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Cape Guy in forever.
He just kind of wanders around to the Broadway Reserve area. Stay off Reserve, by the way.
Yeah, true that. But then we got the guy in the red coat who's always in the corner of Higgins and Main Street.
Yeah.
He's always has that sign out there.
And then there's the Marshmallow Mask guy.
Oh, yes. Is it Jacoby?
Is it Jacoby?
I don't know. I've heard a lot of things on Reddit where some people have interacted with him and stuff like that. Some people wrote posts about him to kind of understand what he's all about. But he's definitely one of the more eccentric people, for sure. And if he catches you looking at him, he was wearing a cat mask one time. I accidentally locked eyes with him, and then as he passed the pillar, he looked at me and he meowed at me.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. So, there's some interesting people here in Missoula. Yeah. And, a lot of the interesting people, I honestly believe that a lot more interesting people work and DJ here at the KFGM. Yeah. So if you're ever interested, you 1015kfgm.org to learn more about this. You can easily listen to the radio online anywhere in the world. Of course, you can always listen live here on the radio on 101.5. FM channel here in Missoula, Bitterroot, Frenchtown, and beyond. A lot of the great places as well. And then, I have another clip for you guys from Missoula Stuff.
Missoula Stuff.
But this is from Gary Gillette interviewing, let's see, hold on one second. He hosts Don Jaramillo, director of Missoula Community Band, which they do plan on doing a concert on May 4th inside Hellgate High School at 7 p.m. So here's an excerpt from that interview.
Another John Williams piece. It is May 4th, so the slogan or the little line of May the 4th be with you. We're doing a tribute to John Williams and all the marches from the Star Wars. So you don't want to miss that. That's going to be really fun. So it's a wonderful concert that really features many soloists within the band and also features wonderful composers, compositions. Ben's piece is wonderful. And I forgot.
And it's timely now, too, with the space stuff going on.
Right, that's great. But I also made a mistake here, and we're featuring one superstar. There are many superstars, but Dr. Tom Cook will be the guest conductor. Now, many of you probably remember Tom, and Tom is former director of bands at the University of Montana, department chair at University of Montana, a PBS personality locally, and he started the community band 35 years ago. So he is going to be conducting a Percy Granger piece called titled Country Gardens, and it's a very delightful, whimsical little piece. And so in celebration of 35 years, Dr. Cook did a piece last concert, and he's agreed to do another piece this concert, and he's also serves as our MC. So you don't want to miss that.
Yeah,
he was
the head of the committee. Well, he wasn't the head of the committee. Dave Smith, when we started the community band, Dave Smith had gone back to do his master's in music ed, and Tom Cook was the band director at the time. And then I'm trying to think who all was in the committee. I know John Schuberg was, myself, George Goodrich. There was maybe half a dozen of us that met and talked and tried to figure a way out to start the community band without alienating the band director from the city band, because he took it personally that that this was an affront to the city band when it wasn't ever. That was not the intent. It was just on the calendar year, and we tried real hard to keep from alienating him or to make the two groups separate but equal. Not at all. That most folks play in both groups, but they have different timelines. And when we...
All right, so there's a little taste of the Music in Missoula Presents Missoula Community Band interview with John Jaramillo. talking a little bit about his conducting of the Missoula Community Band for the May 4th concert. So you guys want to check that out? That's 7 p.m. May 4th. That's happening almost like a whole month from today at Hellgate High School.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So I'm not sure if they're going to do it in the gymnasium or the auditorium, but most likely they've done it in the gym before in the past. Yeah, I've seen a lot of concerts that this Hellgate has done in the gym a lot of times just because they have a little bit more of a sprawling amount of concerts and bands kind of doing a collective cabaret show in a way. Then, of course, they also have to compete with old Dr. Dean with their plays that they do at the Hellgate High School, which are pretty great if you ever get a chance to see any of those plays.
Let's see. I think they're doing The Hobbit.
They're doing The Hobbit?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds fun, honestly.
Oh, it does sound fun.
Yeah, because, like they did The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That was fun, too, to watch. They did a lot of great things. A lot of great old 50s, 60s, and 70s content from way back when. Our old buddy Jack did Ichabod Crane and the Sleepy Hollow adaptation that Dr. Dean did as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jack as well.
Shout out Jack.
Shout out Jack, yeah.
When's your new band, Jack?
When's your new band? His brother just posted their new music on their new album release kind of deal that they're going on the last couple weeks ago. Caramel.
Yes, Caramel.
Yep, that's their band name. If you get a chance, they're based out of Spokane. It's just the one song right now on their place, but if you look up Caramel.
Their album art.
Yeah. This old wizard that you saw, like if you ever scrolled Instagram and you see the old wizard, like a book kind of title, and they just have these captions like, me just hanging out with my cat with a wizard hat.
Pondering my orb.
Exactly. So that's kind of what it reminds me of, but like really bad like cartoon rotoscope. But yeah, I definitely like the aesthetic. It's very like genre blending, indie mixture, electronic music for sure that they've been toting around. And I would love to see Jack join a band again soon. He's a bass player.
Yeah, Jack formed Carpool 2.
Yeah, Carpool 2, the sequel. Just call it Carpool 2, the sequel. Speaking of sequels,
don't call it that, Jack. Come up with a new.
Speaking of sequels, it looks like the new Spaceballs movies has a set date for next year in April. So April 2027 is when they plan on doing Spaceballs 2. Otherwise known as The Search for More Money. Mel Brooks is going to be 100 years old if he makes it that long, and he seems like he's in the running for it too. This is by far one of his last star roles to be in a part of these kind of movies. Of course, he doesn't really direct anymore. He doesn't have that kind of energy to kind of push those kind of things. It's a lot.
It's a lot to direct.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure that Men in Tights was his official last directorial movie that he ever did.
Really?
I know, it's been a long time.
That was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, when he was in his 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like working like Clint Eastwood, who just consistently directs while he's pushing 100.
That's true.
Yeah, but Mel Brooks is a little bit older.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even like Dick Van Dyke celebrated his 100th birthday last December or so.
Alan Alda.
Alan Alda, been around forever too.
Yeah.
A lot of.
He's just done documentaries later.
You just show up for a couple voice lines here and there and be done. Morgan Freeman is doing his voice work for the dinosaur one that's on Netflix.
Anya and I watched one of those, and we just kept going leproshukish to each other.
What?
Because he said leprosukis, but he said leproshukish.
Okay. I don't get it. But
it's just the name of one of the animals.
All right.
in the documentary.
You get that feeling when you're uncomfortable with an inside joke that doesn't involve you. You're just like.
We're just laughing at the way you said leprosukis.
Nice. It's kind of like where Benedict Cumberbatch says penguin.
Yeah.
Penguin. Yeah, because he doesn't say like the same way twice.
He dictates it.
Yeah, he dictates it. But, it's just the accent thing. It's kind of like aluminium.
Yes.
Yeah. And, it is kind of funny when you think about, like, pronunciation. Because, a lot of times the British pronunciation is actually the more correct one. American tends to be a little bit more slangy.
Well, but if, what I heard is that actually East Coast accents are a little bit closer to what it would have been around the time of the Revolutionary War.
Right.
And that like the British accent was basically like something that the upper class did when they wanted to sound more posh.
I see.
And then the lower class went, "Oh, that sounds fancy."
Yeah. Well, because
so they started copying it.
Exactly. So I think a lot of times like I would say that, America has always had a rejection of like certain, because when watching the Ken Burns documentary, which I highly recommend, The American Revolution, one of the big things, like they always say that women's part in the role of it, they're always looking for new information on women's role in the revolution. And part of the biggest reveal in the American Civil War was when they basically asked locals and landowners and all the heavy hitters of the Revolutionary War to be like, stop buying goods from Britain, especially your wives. Your wife should not be buying those Victorian dresses. So that was the big push to have more locally American-made products become more of the norm. So that's why fashion kind of really shifted after that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it was like, in a lot of ways, the Revolutionary War kind of happened around like its own British Gilded Age, where they just got done with their 12-year war, which at the time really feels like one of the earliest world wars at the time, because Britain
Thanks,
was
France, represent.
Yeah, seriously, France and Britain just doing their war thing. They were always doing tit for tat for the longest time in that era, especially. Yeah. And then Napoleon came into power. That was a whole other thing. Like, it was kind of like the fall of kings, but the rise of fascists. That was kind of like a big thing. They even happened as far back as Napoleon era and even beyond. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny where, what was it, Mark Twain, has said is like history doesn't always repeat itself, but it does rhyme.
It does rhyme. You know who else said that? George Lucas.
Really?
It's like poetry.
I know. Like, I've been seeing nothing but those things online. It's just like, oh, you're saying that trade disputes are not a big deal? And that's basically kind of what they've been the posting. It's like George Lucas kind of called it.
Yeah. Star Wars tried to warn us, everyone.
About, like, trade.
And you said, I don't want politics in my space lasers.
Because there's definitely some underlying things that they had in there for sure. But yeah, we're pretty much wrapping up the end of our show. Is there anything else we wanted to kind of mention? I did kind of want to mention that the city of Missoula is also looking to propose a new short-term and also long-term benefits of creating a dorm to the Firehouse number 4. This is the one fire station next to Costco off Broadway, where they do all the trainings and they have those ladders for people to do those kind of things. Yeah. That's a big thing that's moving forward as well. And part of that also has to do with they're outgrowing. They got 20 new employees under the fire department, courtesy of our firefighting levy and that grant.
And you want to have people on call. You want to have people right there next to it. So the dorm makes sense.
Yeah, and the fire department has worked with very little in the past, and this is just one of many things the fire department gets to pursue while the iron is hot. These next year, I think we're in the second year of this grants, which basically fully funded 20 of the firefighters over the last 3 years. And I think this is our second year in funding. So they have that levy that was passed, and that kind of went into full effect. So they are able to have these kind of projects to come to fruition. So
yeah, shout out firefighters, represent.
Yep. So the cost of this is going to be $323,136 would be the cost for the expansion of Firehouse 3, which is on 3011 Lattimore Street, just by Costco. It's interesting to kind of see this kind of things, and it's always fun to kind of see, because now they're working on building Firehouse Station number 6, and they're looking for an optimal location that's going to connect people to Reserve Street from 3rd. So 3rd and Reserve. That's the general idea, but they kind of want to be more settled at Russell and 3rd Street in that general area to try to figure out where they're going to be for their 6th station. So, I mean, JJ Used Car would be a good lot, too, not to mention the Sleepy Inn Hotel is another location, but they do want to move it closer to the Franklin to the Fort neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people are, I've heard a lot of people say that, what about the fire station off of South and Reserve, the one right there?
That's not a Missoula
That's
fire
not
station.
a city fire station, folks.
Yeah.
It was made in the county, and then the city just pushed further out.
You got to get your facts straight.
You got to get facts straight, yo. But no, the county kind of covers a lot of the cost when it comes to that in terms of county taxes. So different jurisdiction, different kinds of things, and they want to be able to fire station to help bolster more city living, especially as Ward 2 is growing like crazy, and it will help alleviate station number 4, which is why they're building the dormitory.
Totally.
So the short-term expansion for more spaces for firefighters to sleep, and then after the fact, they're going to try to transition that into more maintenance areas for folks to repair and fix a lot of their old machinery so they can keep serving the public. Yeah, so good news with that. And, it's we could probably just end right here. I wanted to thank you guys for joining me.
We're just about at the top of the hour.
Yeah. Do you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, you've been listening to MCAT Radio on KFGM 101.5. Frenchtown, the Bitterroot, Missoula, and worldwide at MissoulaCommunityRadio.org. This is MCAT Radio. I'm Neil.
And I'm Scott.